Okay. So just waiting for the top of the hour, and then we will get going. Okay, almost there, 11. Okay, there we go. So top of the hour, 11 p.m. my side, so 9 a.m. in New York. So welcome to today's session. The DTB system, as you know by now, for those familiar with working with the different tools, there's some really good tools in there to help make trading decisions. Just helps paint a clear picture of what price is doing on the chart. And we'll even go through some of those in the session today, look at some of those. Great. And we have a risk disclosure for futures trading. So I only trade futures trading. I don't trade Forex or anything like that. And I actually only promote futures trading. So that is what we do. So definitely have a look through that. There's going to be a link in the video as well. Okay, great. So we've got a few people have done optimizations for their settings. So I've set up a chart of mine already. So what I've got today is a 48.8 chart. So it's the DTB bars, a 48.8, and that is what the bars look like. So, you're going to have signals in and around these brick walls. They're going to be plotting trades. And what I've done with this optimization is I've done an optimization, and I've done it for basically data from the 26th of September up until today. It's basically every single day's worth of data, but specifically segmenting the day for the 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. time slot. So the strategy, what this does is it basically analyzes the trading, analyzes all the data, and then it spits out the best results that have worked between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. So these results you're seeing here are only for that specific period of the day. So if we look at the analysis and we go to even, let me just see, you can go to cumulative net profit. So that has been like the record of, of the thing. So we've had we had a little bit of a down yesterday, but generally I've noticed that after a down comes an up. So not always. So we're going to run this today and just see how this goes on my side. May not be a lot of trades, but it may only be 3 or 4 or 5 trades. And I'll actually see if today, how quickly we can hit the $500 mark. And what I would like to do at that stage is just pop it on pause, and then we're done. So make it even shorter than normal if that happens. And if we have a few trades that are in a position and they seem like they're against Fibonacci levels or whatever, we can always pause them. So that's one thing I can be looking at today also. So that is my optimization that I did. I did go and optimize the specific trading days. So I also went and optimized the specific trading days for Wednesday. So if you noticed yesterday, we ran similar optimizations. The only thing, if you saved yesterday's templates, the only thing that you need to do differently for the next day is go change your date to the day ahead and your trading hours to the next one. So we had it 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday. So I just made it 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wednesday, and I ran the optimization. So 2 little changes on the template. That's all you need to do to continue to the next trading day. So any of your saved templates that you have in your thing over in your list, any saved template that you have. In fact, you don't have to go and call it Tuesday. You can just call it, your bar size and the time slot. that's basically all you have to do. And perhaps you can save the dates that you're actually analyzing. But if you want to have it more generic, you can just call it something a bit shorter. And all you do is you load up one of those templates. And the only thing you have to do is change your end date and your trading hours template that you're using, and then you run your optimization. So it's only the very first initial setup that takes a little bit longer than normal, unless you just save a template and then load it up into your system. But at least this way we actually just are able to do the optimizations a lot faster, because all the settings are basically pre-populated according to your template, and then you are just running them again. So that is what it's going to be looking like today. I'll move this out of the way. And I mean, you know, today we can also look at pausing the strategy and entering some manual positions. So these baselines are often magnetizable price. Also, very often the price, you know, when it's on a wick or when it's moving to a different wick, it's going to return to a baseline. Often you could just trade away from, you know, a Fibonacci level or to a Fibonacci level. I've also got a separate chart window up here, which is a 48 bar. So this can also be for like manual positions. So as an example, I was I trading on this chart a little bit yesterday, I think. Yeah, so like yesterday, I was trading on this specific chart. And yesterday, the price hit the Fibonacci, the cluster, the new highs at the 15,701. And what I did is I basically I entered positions, and then I targeted the bottoms of the candle. I think this was our automated trades from yesterday. So I just entered, you know, a whole lot of positions, and they exited on their targets. So yeah, that happened yesterday, and just a little bit today. But you know, you can basically enter positions. So I've got a 50-50 over here as an example. Okay, so a 50-50 target ticks and a stop loss. And then what you can do is you can enter trades based on where the price is and where likely is it to go. So like, for example, I'm going to enter a sell over there and predict that this price is likely to return to this specific, you know, candle. You know, as you can see, very often the candles will, you know, be in bunches like that. And when the price is near a Fibonacci level, very often, especially like if you see over here, very, very often, it's going to struggle to break through that Fibonacci level. It's more likely to bounce back down, at least to the bottom of that candle. So by just targeting like 48 ticks or 45 ticks, you'll get a good percentage of these type of trades successful. And then all you have to do is put your stop just the other side of where the price would need to go, you know, for that candle to break upwards, as an example. So that is something that you could look at as like a scalping type of a trade, a scalping situation. And the good thing is, if you're going to do this on the micros and you've got a few $1,000s in your account, you could enter a one position trade like this. And this was on the minis, but you can do like a one position trade. And if that one fails, pick another one that, you know, pick another time in the day or a few hours later, and then enter another position similar to this, but enter two contracts. And then you can basically keep doubling up like that, you know, until you're actually ahead. So that is something that you can look at doing, you know, because, you know, very, very often these prices return back to their wick and their things. There's a lot of instances where you're going to have groups of these candles, especially around Fibonacci level. So if you look at this Fibonacci level over here, the 76.4, you can see it drop down a level. This is where it was. So earlier in the day, this is where that specific level was. So as soon as that price actually found its, it dropped below, the chance of it just bouncing around there was a lot higher. So if you took 1 or 2 trades in situations like this, your percentages can definitely increase. So that is, that is what you can do on that type of a chart. So that is, so here is like a baseline level. That was the last signal. So it's almost 9 o'clock. It is past 9 now. So I don't really want to be entering any manual positions on this account, because this is where the automated chart is going to be running on. But this one we should just let this one run anyway. It should, it'll close off. So we also got a 61.8, which is a 5 minutes, and you've got a Fibonacci level over there, which has come into play earlier. It did break through earlier, but it's come up there again. Very often there's going to be some sort of reaction around these levels. Very, very often that's going to happen. So that's why you can load up a chart. You can load up any bar chart, actually. So any value bar chart, you can actually load that up and make these little scalping positions as you go throughout the day. And you'll notice, even if you're scrolling back on your chart, these Fibonacci levels are plotting. So exactly where you see them, historically is exactly where they were in real time. So very often, like you'll see, like this Fibonacci, we were actually watching this yesterday, remember? And at 11 o'clock, it closed off. Was that 25? That was 2 days ago, actually. So remember 2 days ago, the price broke through, went up. So at these specific levels, you can see there's the Fibonacci. It went all the way up to the 100 and then bounced off the 100, came back down. So when the price is at levels like this, so this is another type of situation where the price had a little bit of a hindrance, should we call it? And in that case, you can do little scalping positions where you are entering a limit order, even if you want to run on limit orders only. So you can do a limit order over there at the bottom of a candle like that with a 48 tick target and then a 48 tick stop. And that stop will put you just below those Fibonacci levels. So just, again, the chance of it going up is a little bit more or better than the chance of it breaking through, especially if 1 or 2 candles is struggling at a specific level. And, and even when it comes to a level, so you're going to notice too, it comes to these levels. And even over here, if you look on this chart, it was the daily 50 and a 4-hour one. So the price came through, it broke above, and then it's just started struggling over there. So it's above 2 strong levels. You can do your little limit orders around there. So, I mean, you're going to have a decent percent accuracy on that. It's going to be a decent percentage on those levels. And like I said, if you have a position that loses, you find another situation where it is better. So if there was more candles in a bunch, that especially if there's 2 candles, but possibly a 3rd candle in a row that's stuck in one, that might be a good one. Now I entered on this one over here. This could be one that just shoots up again because we've had a lot of candles just go straight up before that. So, these are just little, the odds are slightly in your favor because the price is approaching a stronger Fibonacci level. That's basically all it is. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so that is that. I just want to be out of this position before 9:30 because that's more than likely when the automated strategy is going to be entering its positions. I don't want to have, I don't want to be, impacting that too much. Even though the strategy is active now, I don't think there's going to be any trades around this specific level where the price is now, unless it breaks up and over this Fibonacci level. So getting to quarter past. So there it's coming right up now to this, the 61.8 and the 76.4. So very often you'll have little bounces around, when the price is at those. I'll just mute anyone on the call. You can also do this on like a 5-minute chart also. So if you want to look at like a 5-minute chart, you can compare what the price is doing on there. So as we also saw, on the call yesterday, that where that candle closes on the charts also makes a huge difference. Like the 5-minute candles, where they close, is it closing above or below that, those levels? So I've got like I think this was a 25 bar before I changed it. So like this one over here, the price came and actually closed right on that level. So if you took a limit order at the top of this bar and you just targeted the bottom of the bar, again, the chances are pretty decent. And it's a smaller tick value of like 25 ticks. I'm just reloading my other chart and hopefully it doesn't impact this chart that we're on now. So you guys have got your bar sizes and stuff that you want to work with today on for your strategies?
Well, let me tell you, I had it running on the 1818 from earlier today. I'm already surpassed my goal, so I'm going to stick to that one.
Okay,
18
good.
by 18.
Very nice.
1,500 out now.
Magic.
What was that at? You said 818?
18,
you say 818?
18, 18 by 18.
1818. Okay.
Analytical.
Cool.
Mhm.
On the NQ.
On the NQ, yes, sir.
Excellent. Nice.
So we just have the price floating around at this specific level. I'm going to just close off my other chart that I've got open next to it here, because for some reason I'm getting a bit of a freeze on this other chart. Oh, you see, it's gone and restarted the strategy. I did not want that to happen. Shit. So I went and refreshed my chart, and it's actually not, this other chart that I had active on here, a 5-minute chart. It seemed like it was stuck, so I refreshed it, and now it's gone and messed up the order that I had active. So that's not so good. Okay. All right. So this is my strategy over here, and it's got 9. So it's showing active, but let me just disable it, and I want to re-enable it again. So enable, apply. Okay, just to make sure everything's right. And I'm pressing start. So a few minutes before the market actually opens. And we'll monitor what happens over there. So very interesting. I wanted to see this. This is the chart I wanted to actually see. So the 5 minutes, it's amazing how often the 5 minute is a good precursor as to see where the price is going to go. So where those candles close. So as an example, this very last candle, the 5-minute candle closed. It went above the 76.4, but it closed below. So that just shows to me that they try to break through the Fibonacci level. They didn't close below. So there's very likely the price is going to drop below that. And that's exactly what is happening. On this one, unfortunately, my trade did exit because the chart was stuck and I refreshed it. So it basically exited at that level, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, that's fine. At least we get to see the, what happens around these levels. So there's very often a little bit of a, reaction around those levels. So definitely keep an eye on them, especially on the 5-minute chart. And even if you're scrolling back on the chart, there's very seldom where you're going to get a situation where it's going to close and not go up. So even over here, it closed and it closed. So you're looking at these type of things, a bit of all over the place there. What is the time? 3 p.m. Over there went up a little bit. There it closed below and then went down. Closed above, but the next candle closed below. So very often you're going to see, it is going to be effective. And also when it comes nearby, like this 4 hour 61.8 stops, that very often can be also a little turnaround in what the price is doing. So this one definitely failed at that 76.4. You can see it just went up, closed below, and the next candle is coming down. So little scalping positions like that can be taken. Although the very last signal on this strategy that's got loaded now would have been a long position. I should see, why am I not getting any markers? Oh yes, because I've got it between 9 a.m. Okay, so yesterday, those are the trades from yesterday. We had a few losing positions to start off. That's probably why the strategy was down a little bit. But that's how it ended. It ended on 1, 2, 3 positive trades, and now we're back to today. So overall, the strategy has, with these very specific settings, they've shown decent results. So not a very high drawdown and a decent return over that entire period. So again, the entire period covered the 26th of the 9th up until the 20th. So it's basically a month's worth of data. So during the month, if you go to analysis and you even just go weekly over here, you'll see these results maybe even after running 3 weeks, and then hopefully running it for the 4th week and 5th week, and it actually continues up. Not always the case, because often, as we've seen, the price, it can also lose. I mean, nothing's always going to be going up, but you're trying to put the odds in your favor. So by setting something like this, your odds of making are higher than of losing, just because of its current history. So around about a 52% accuracy. And that also includes all of the trades that enter in and around the baseline. So very often you'll get a situation, if I go a little bit back on the chart, you'll get a situation where trades flick in and around the baseline. Let me see if I can go back to previous days. Okay, so not too many of those type of trades. They kind of just took off in that direction as soon as they entered. So mostly they've actually gone in their intended direction after they've executed. So we'll see. So again, coming up to the 72.6. So, sorry, the 76.4 on the 4 hour. So with the Fibonacci level indicator, if you want to remove some of these plots and things, you can, and the colors, you can actually just go down to the settings over here, and you can make these values transparent if you don't want to see the specific plot levels, and then you could save it as a template. So that's a good thing to do if but it depends which levels you want to see, and that all depends on which time frame you are operating on. If you're looking at some of the other indicators, so we've got about 4 minutes before the market opens, so I might just pop on. I'll add I'll add a indicator on here, the shadow trading indicator. That's going to show us some of the divergences. We actually have an automated strategy for this specific indicator. So we've got that at the moment. It's just a matter of I just got to work on, it's basically in the beta stage. So it has been released. We're just getting a few guys to test it out and see what settings are working and what little additions can be added to it. But there we've had like divergence. So this divergence arrow painted the second that this bar closed. So you're also able to look at divergences in and around these Fibonacci levels, and they also give you a much higher possibility of of trades being successful. So there's my the 48 bar earlier where I entered that position. So almost hit its target. It would have almost hit its target. We'll see if it still comes down. If you want to go and put a trailing stop on your manual order, you can go and do so in your in your settings too. So that's something you can do. You could even have it that it goes to break even or break even plus 2 ticks after it moves to whatever value, and then you can make sure you're not losing on a position that goes down and then comes up again. So little things you can do. But this definitely is a really awesome indicator to work with, your shadow trading indicator. If I just put it on its own, actually, I won't put it on its own right now, just because I want to load this Fibonacci levels during the session. But this is basically the signal of the shadow trading. So the momentum line determines where the true direction of price is going to be going. So that shows in real time. These divergences show. So there we had a beautiful divergence right off the 61.8. So look at that. We had these presenting themselves, and then the green bars showed eventually who was taking over control of the price. So really cool tools that you guys have got access to. these lines you're seeing here are the shadow trading, are in the shadow trading. They're the plots. So you can basically, and these are the plots that you can select to build an automated strategy. If you don't want to see those plots specifically, you can actually go into the shadow trading and go and disable them over here somewhere. Yeah, these plots. Make them transparent if you don't want to actually see them. I think it's the red and okay, anyway, I'll close this for now because we're going to see the market open and we'll see what this one does. So the price is right on this Fibonacci level, but we're at the open. So, you know, when you're at the open, I wouldn't be betting against anything at the open because price just goes crazy at the open. It's only when it settles down are those levels more respected. So the price has gone up to the 50%. This is the 5-minute 50%. Coming back to retest at 76.4 because now that it broke through. Again, this is the first 5 minutes, so you know it's basically John Wayne type of things happening at the moment.
Hey, Jason, I got that license expired notification. Do I need to download something that I didn't?
Did you have like a did you have like a Windows update or something that just kicked in or something like that?
I might have.
You might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people are upgrading to Windows 11 or updating to Windows 11. And I haven't done that at all. But as soon as you do a major update, it's going to completely reset your machine ID, which is something really pathetic. I don't know why, as we discussed yesterday, NinjaTrader is linked so closely to the machine, the Windows updates. But anyway, that is it. Okay, so there's our first automated trade. On this one, I'm happy with the long here because the price broke through. Came back to retest that 76 level, so it's likely to possibly go up. It's likely to go up. There is a big gap above the price. So we'll see what happens around here. Big gap above price. So we didn't look at this yet, but if we look at the levels above, we've got a huge, come on. We do have a huge gap above price at the moment, which is, how far is that? Probably in the 300s, So that's a huge space for this price to rush up. It's a huge space for it to go. So we'll see what that does. We've had, like I said, we've had a breakthrough. We've had a break of this level. Doesn't mean that it won't come and retest it again, but we've kind of had a break up from it. We are only in the first 3 minutes of the session. So again, it's not like, I wouldn't be banking on a move right away. I think they'll be taking out some stops first before they push where they want to go. And you can also select, so like I'm going to click on long only as an example. So I'm going to click long only because while the price is above this level, I don't want to be taking shorts into that Fibonacci level. I'd rather stick with the longs because there's a much higher chance of the price going up than it is of coming down. So if a short signal does present itself, it will basically just exit that position. So again, coming to retest that 76.4, it did go up and back down again. Okay, so that's pulled out. Not the best start to our session. So now that we're below, I'm going to just wait until this 5-minute candle actually closes. So I can actually pause this right now. I'm going to just pause it for a moment, just to wait and see what happens with this 5-minute candle. Okay, so it closed below. So I'm now going to look for only short positions, and I'm going to press start. So we've got multiple divergences over here. The price is still in buyer's territory, but more likely from where it is now with this level, it did struggle to break through and stay above. So we'll monitor what that does. How do I clear this? I just want to clear this. Oh, this is the one here. I don't know why it's not removing the drawing objects, but anyway. Okay, so here we are again. We're above this level. I've switched over to both again. Kind of not really certain what it wants to do. Below this price, we have the daily 76.4. That is the level. So a lot more resistance below the price. So there's a lot more in play over here than above. That was an unprecedented move yesterday going up, right up there. So we'll see if there's a bit of a pullback or what happens today. I've switched it over to both now, so I'll just let it do what it's going to do. The last signal was actually there for a sell. I didn't enter that sell position because I had it on long only, but now it will enter both long and short. So we'll see what happens. Okay, cool. So Jamal's he's watching on the YouTube. So you're running a 1036. Yeah, let us know how that goes as you progressing through the session.
So far, it's going horrible. I'm watching you on Zoom right now.
Oh, okay, you are. Did you compare your chart to the optimizer? Did you make sure everything was lined up nicely?
Yes, I did. But what I've been doing lately is I wait for the 940 buyer to open, and I'll run a quick 10-minute scan, and then I'll change those settings from 9:30 to 11 o'clock and see how that runs.
Okay, got you. So you can see a lot of moving around here where there's not quite a direction. So they're at the strong level. They're not sure whether they want to go above or below. They're kind of just floating around there. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're literally just floating around this level until they decide where they're going to push it. So there's going to be a strong push in some direction. And they just got to decide where they actually want to take it. Okay, so we're in a long now. So looking at this, looking at the last 5-minute chart, that's a 48 bar chart. So looking at this, let's just see if it can show us anything over here. So we had the price come up, it's gone and broken above, closed above that 76, probably coming down to take out some stops. So, and then, you know, going up, hopefully that'll be the case over there. So even though there's quite a few divergences there at that point, we'll see what happens. We do have, so when you're looking at the shadow trading indicator, you do have the momentum line is very depictive of where price is more likely to go. So even though the momentum line is below the price, it's right up with the price. So unlike over here on the left, it's actually deviated from the price. So if you scroll back, you notice how the momentum line deviates from the price, and that acts like a magnet to pull the price up. When the momentum line is with the price like this, it doesn't mean that there's immediately a reversal coming. It's only when this momentum line starts shifting direction and starts facing downwards like this, is that a good indicator that that price is going to reverse. And that's what happens over here. So you get your divergences, and then you get the bars start changing color. And as you can see, this momentum line is facing up and it's just running with the price. So that is what you want to basically see if you're in a long position. Okay, so now it looks like they've got their direction that they want to be pushing the price. So now that they decided what they want to do around here, around this fib level, there's nothing really stopping them to really push this price to highs. Now, they obviously could come back and retest some levels, but I think they've done that a lot over here. They've retested a lot of the 76 level. So between the 76, you've only got the 5-minute levels over here. So you haven't got a lot of levels in play to really, you know, hold the price back.
Beautiful, Jason. Let me just comment that on I had two charts on the 18 by 18. I'm up 1690, 1690, and nice. On the 48 by 8 DTB, just hit 778. So pretty good day.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So I click pause over there, only because of this 38.2. Sometimes we'll get a little pullback from there. Especially after a rise up, you know, it basically smashed all the way through the 50% and it went straight to the 38. But this next level, often there's a little bit of a little pullback. Now, I don't know if it's going to come down or just could be a little to take out some stops and then continue up. But I just basically paused it over there. I mean, we haven't made a lot of money on this session because I actually had my first trade close at about that trade that I opened up in the beginning. at about $100 loss. And then the second trade that actually entered was this losing position over here. So overall, we're still up over $300 on that. And I'll just see what's what's going to happen over here. So I've got it on pause at the moment. A lot of people have a target of $500 for the session, and very often you can get that within the first 15 minutes of the market open. Very, very often. In fact, most of our sessions that we've had, the first 10 to 15 minutes, you've gone past the $500 mark. So even if that is your goal, that's something you can look at. So, this is what I was saying earlier. Okay, but we're not at a strong level though. So I wouldn't be doing it at this specific point. But here's that 40-48 bar that we were looking at earlier. And, just looking what the price did at these different levels, struggled a little bit, so just like I thought, it raised up to that 38.2. So even on a, I paused the strategy when it was on top. You can see there's my that's my marker for my exit. But even if you entered a limit order over there with your 48 tick target, you would have hit it, over there. I wouldn't make it at the bottom of the bar, just a little bit into the bar. So maybe like a 45 target instead of a 48, just so you can be sure of hitting it, more likely hitting it than not hitting it.
Hey, Jason, I actually have a question for the gentleman who just spoke, Eduardo. I was curious if the numbers are actually very positive that he announced. Was he doing pure algorithm and letting it trade all by itself, or was he maybe pausing it and scalping profits as the algo chose the entries?
Thank you. Hi. Yeah, this is Eduardo. Yeah, what I personally do, I don't let the strategy to lose capital much, out of my comfort zone. So if I see the position going against me more than I like, I pause it and then wait for the next signal. That's my very personal way of using the strategy.
So do you let the algo, it sounds like you are your manual stop loss, but then do you let the algorithm choose its own exit for profits?
Not necessarily. What I do is I wait for the strategy to take a position, and if I see it green, I let it run, and then at some point I'm using other charts to support, kind of what Jason does with the Fibonacci's, to use it as exit points. I do that arbitrarily. If I'm fine with the result of that trade, I can pause it and wait for the next one.
Excellent.
Basically, I personally don't let the strategy to lose more capital that I'm willing to see it lose.
Perfect. That's a very good insight. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Great, thanks, Eduardo. So I almost entered a long position over there, but I'm looking. There's still a good chance of you being successful on these type of positions, but I prefer to do them at stronger Fibonacci levels. So this is only a 5-minute level. Now, it's not saying that it's not going to go hit. It's still a very good chance of it hitting. Probably, still a good percentage. It's just the percentages are much higher when you're around stronger levels. So, I would have been in a long right now, even just to the top of this bar. And this is 48 ticks, so it's a good run. But I do like to reserve those type of entries for the bars at the stronger Fibonacci level. So your choice, but like that one there would have hit. You see, it would have actually hit that target. So you can get situations like that where you're going to have an entry, but again, you just choose your levels. So definitely have your Fibonacci levels on your brick chart, and it could be any brick chart. Even if it's the 5-minute charts are, because the bars are all inconsistent sizes, it's a bit difficult to actually, just decide where your X's are going to be and all that. But what you can certainly do with the 5-minute bars is you can watch out for your divergences like we saw over here. and then, you know, wait until you have predominantly green bars on the chart, and then have your stops below those levels. So, you know, when the bars are predominantly green, you know, the buyers are in control of the market. Unfortunately, this was obviously, you know, a very hectic, busy time, and it shot up. But on the tick bars, you're going to have that showing beautifully on the charts. You know, so let's just make this a slightly smaller chart. So if I go to a let's just make this like a 22 bar. We can go one day, that's fine. So that's a 22 bar. And if you go and load up your indicator now, so you've got your Fibonacci levels, which is a definite must. And then the next one that you load is your shadow trading one. So load up your shadow trading. Let me just see if I can disable those plots. We don't need to see the plots when you know, when we got just the indicator loaded on its own. So I'll just make those as transparent. I think that will do it. No, they're still there for some reason. That red and cyan arrows up. Ah, maybe, hang on. It was these ones here I needed to make transparent. Okay, there we go. So that just basically hides the plot lines. You don't need to see the plot lines if you're just looking at the indicator itself. So now we see this momentum line starting to drop, you see. Now we're getting some gold bars, we're at this level. So this is what you're looking for when you start looking to enter a short position. So you've got your gold bars in, you only got one gold bar at the moment. This looks like it's coming to a second gold bar. But these are your precursors to basically start getting into short positions. And if you're in long positions, this is where you would be looking at exiting, you know, long positions, because there's a very high likelihood that this price is going to reverse. So seeing the momentum line dropping down, you've got a lot of gold bars in place. The only thing you got to watch out for on a chart like this, and it happens a fair amount of time, is I'll just draw on here. Let me just see, what is the line again? Alt and Q. So very often the price will come down like it has, and then what they'll do is they will still come up and bring the price a little bit higher than they bought it before, and then you know, and then bring it down. So if you look at that happening, come on. If you look at that, where's this thing? You know, that's what they're going to do. So your key determining factor though is this momentum line. So if this momentum line stays down, then there's a much higher chance of this price actually, you know, of the price coming down. So watching the coloring of your bars, so there we've got a little bit of a green bar situation. Momentum line has switched up a little bit. So we're still wanting to see a situation where we've got more gold bars than green bars. So if you look back at any of the signals, you're going to notice, you know, gold bars, more green bars, gold bars, and then it pulled the price up. So on any of them, that is what you're going to be noticing. Why have I, yeah, so I just got a little bit of a something happening here. Okay, what's going on? I probably should have closed all my optimization windows and stuff. It's probably a good idea to do before you jump into this. Okay, so at this point, we've got a lot more gold bars. You can see how, there's more gold bars than green bars at the moment. So this to me is telling me that the chance of this price coming down is a lot higher than it going up at this very moment. So this is where you can put a little bit of a buffer between where the price is now. So that's the last high for the green bar, not the last high, the last, the point where where the green bars were basically forming. We have a green bar now, so probably jumped in a little bit soon, but this is where, you'll be starting to look. So when the bar closes, the coloring of that bar is what it's going to stay. So like the last bar closed green, this bar, we'll see if this closes green or it's going to close gold. So we've seen what that is at the moment. So you can go and put your stop like above the last high like that. Just bear in mind that you're definitely having a lot more exposure to your, where's this? I just want to take off the chart auto scale. So often when you're moving your stops and targets, if your auto scale is selected, it's going to, compress your chart a little bit. So just go and remove that auto scale. And what that'll do, it'll just reposition that chart. Okay, so we're going to be a little bit careful in this situation because the momentum line is starting to change direction. But like I showed earlier, where the price often comes back down. So you can either wait for that bounce. You can either wait for that move of that price coming down again and more gold bars to appear, or you can jump in a little bit earlier like what I did, which is a little bit more risky. But as soon as you start seeing more of these gold bars and stuff, then you know that this is a downwards type of a trend. So we definitely got more green bars at this stage. So I'm a little bit not excited about this specific position. Looking at the Fibonacci level, so we're above the 38. Like again, it's only a 5-minute level, so we've got to, we've got that. Again, we've got a big gap above the price, so we'll see what happens with this. I will keep an eye on this momentum line and see what that is doing. We are right on. So if you look at the number on this indicator, it's 1.4. Now it's 0.6, 0.5. So as soon as that goes below 0, you know that the sellers are in control of the price. So we're kind of on a tug of war line at the moment, right now, of the buyers and the sellers. So it could really go any way at this moment because you do have that type of a situation here where it's a battle between the buyers and the sellers. And we're on that 0 line. So there we're going just below 0 now. So you could also decide at this point to get out of a position and wait until you've got more of a confirmation of who's in control of the price. Our momentum line is starting to face down a little bit. So if you notice the angle of that momentum line over here, it's actually facing down a little bit. So that's a good sign. And wherever that bar closes and where that momentum line was, that is where it will stay. So that's why you're going to see all these little jagged lines on this momentum line. And that's because, that's the positioning of it at that bar close. It's almost the top of the hour, so we'll be ending the session shortly. Just see what happens with this position. seems to be wanting to bounce off the 5-minute 38. So staying above that a little bit. It did break below earlier. That's why I jumped into this position earlier, because it closed below that 38. But now afterwards, it's gone above, and it seems to be bouncing off that 38 to go up. So let's hope that that is not the case over here. If it is, I will jump out of this position and rather wait until I get a more favorable type of a situation. Yeah, so right now I'm actually going to I'm going to exit this. I'll wait till if it goes up one more bar, then I'll exit this position. Okay, so that's that one. So that's what you got to also watch out for, is the predominant coloring of the bars when they're closing. We did get an extra divergence over there. So I would enter again now if I see more gold bars coming. That's where I would be jumping in, but I'm going to wait for it to drop below the 38.2. So that's what I would wait for next. So right now the buyers are definitely more in control. So it's that fine line between the buyers and the sellers that we've got to be able to determine. And then once that line is, once that's got direction, it's going to run. Okay, so it's just gone the top of the hour. I'm going to keep watching this chart, and I'm actually going to enter another position if this goes and drops below. And I'm going to run that.
So Jason, gonna have to run here, but
Yes.
I was running two analytical bar strategies.
Okay.
Both of the analyticals was a 31.4.
Yes.
One of them I was running on MNQ, and that hit my profit target for the day at $120.
Okay.
So that's is respectable for me. And the NQ did not end out so good as in the negative, but it was a full algo run, and it's only minus $69.
Okay. All right. Good.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for the feedback on that. And good. Yeah. So thanks everybody for being on the call. I'll end it over there, and then I'll just, if you guys want to, you can keep monitoring on your side. You got to load up a 22 bar, load it up. I'm going to be jumping into a short soon, but I'll end the session here, and we shall so that automatic strategy did just over $300 today, which is pretty good. So yeah,
I just want to let you know that I ended up at 115 when I ran that 930 to 940 on the 1036 bar, and I ended at $115.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna start doing more often.
Yes, perfect. No, that is the way to go.
All right.
Wonderful. So now we're starting to see the sellers take over control of the price, and more of the gold bars, which I will be watching on. The momentum line is coming right down. So basically exactly what I said before this move happened where they just took the price a little bit higher and then they bring it down. So those, just judging your entries might be a bit of a better move on this. So I took a bit of a loss on that first trade. But, it's not very often what happens is, they will just, these are the signals that this indicator gives. So I'm at this Fibonacci level here, the 50%, I'll just pop it out over there. So I'm still up for the session, but, these are the signals that you want to be watching out for on the shadow trading. And if you want to wait for a second, divergence to happen and then gold bars to enter, go ahead. If you want to exit when you see arrows like this in the opposite direction, that was a good exit points. Bear in mind though that we still have this momentum line facing down. So, you can also just run it a bit further. Here's the next strong level. So here's the 76.4. So we're very likely to see a bounce off this level. very, very likely to see a bounce off this level. And there we've got a bit of a divergence from the shadow trade. That's another very clear picture that price is going to have a reaction around here. So there we go. So, I mean, these, I did jump out early, but I mean, these are the type of moves that can be really powerful. So even just trading to the next level. And there's our bounce off that 76.4. So there's your 76.4 Fibonacci level on the 4 hour. Price came, basically touched on it, went a little bit below. It's now at that level. It's basically at this level right now. The price is showing oversold. So if you were in a short position, this is the absolute ideal point to be getting out of it. You know, and then just wait for your next signal. If you're looking at the slightly larger charts, like this is the 5-minute chart. I haven't, I don't know why this one's lagging on me a little bit. You know, that's what's happened on the 5-minute chart. We had all these divergences over here. We'll see if this closes below, and this price is more than likely going to come down. The same with your 48. There's your 48 bar. So if you entered a limit order on the bottom of that bar and targeted the top, you would have had your successful trade. And more than likely another one over here back there, because we're at these levels. Good. Okay, I went a little bit over than what I was supposed to, but I hope this helps a little bit with you guys, your session. And that's the end of the week too. So for me, should I say? So we'll see you back on Monday and we'll run another session from there.
Thank you, Jason, so much.
Thank you guys. Have a good one and chat to you soon.
Thank you.